right, everybody. So we're going to do 5-3 today, and we are basically just working on trying to add a little bit more in every time with solving to write our equations. So we're still looking at writing equations in y equals mx plus b form, slope-intercept form, looking for that m and b. Last time in 5-2, I gave you the m and you had to solve for the b. Well, as you probably might have expected, this is going to be, you have to solve for everything. So all I'm giving you this time are 2 points that lie on the line that you're like looking at if we're on a graph. And since we don't have a graph, we have to figure out what those things are just by using our equation. Okay, so we're going to learn something new today. In addition, and then we're going to add it into what we already know from the last lesson and go from there. So the first thing you have to do, step number 1, is to find the slope. Well, we have a special equation that we use when you're given 2 points to find the slope. And it looks like this. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so it's the y points subtracted over the x points subtracted. So that should make sense because our slope is rise over run, and our rise goes up and down, which is our y values, and our run goes left and right, which is our x values. So we're subtracting to figure out how much it's changed in the y values and how much it's changed in the x values as we go forward, okay? So our points are 5, -2, which is x and y, and then 210, which is another x and y. I don't really care what order you do it in as long as the y's are on top and the x's are on the bottom. You have to stay in the same order both times though. So if you subtract -2 minus 10, then you have to go 5 minus 2 here. You can't go backwards on one and forwards on another, if that makes any sense. So doesn't matter which way you choose to do it, but you have to stay consistent, okay? So if I choose my -2 minus 10 on top, I'm going to write it just like that. Then on the bottom, I'm going to have 5 minus 2 for my x's. And then we're just going to subtract and simplify because that's going to be our slope, rise over run. -2 minus 10 is -12. 5 minus 2 is 3. This will simplify because -12 divided by 3 is -4. So there's my slope. This is my m. Okay? Now, once you've found the m, you're going to write your y equals mx plus b, and the rest of this is exactly what we did in lesson 5-2. So if I write out my y equals mx plus b, right, I have an x and a y, either the first one or the second one. It doesn't matter, but just pick one. So I'm going to write 5 -2. This is my x, this is my y, and my m equals -4. So I'm going to plug in my y, my m, and my x. I'm going to solve for b, just like we were doing in the previous lesson. So -2 equals -4 times 5 plus b. Okay, this should look familiar. So -2 drops. These multiply to get -20 plus b. I'm going to add 20 to make it the opposite, so it will cancel. And this gives me 18 for my b value. So again, here's my b, here's my m. Let's write an equation. Y equals -4x plus 18. Okay, once you have your m and your b, you are ready to go. All right, let's go to the next one. So again, use these steps right here to help you out. Find the slope. Remember, xy, xy. I don't care which order as long as y's are on top. So I'm going to do -8. Now look at this. This is special. -8 minus, right? And then we have a -9. So you have to put both of those in there. Minus and the negative back to back so that we make sure we get our actual answer comes out correctly. then I'm going to do the same thing. So -2 minus -4. Otherwise, you end up with the opposite sign happening or the wrong answer, one of the two, probably both. So we have -8 plus 9, because back-to-back negatives become a positive. -8 plus 9 is 1. -2 plus 4, or -2 minus -4, okay, is going to be 2. So our answer for our slope is 1/2. We can't simplify that, so that's good to go. Now again, here it is. We've got a point, and I'm just going to pick the second one this time. So -4, -9, because I can pick any one I want. This is my x, this is my y, there's my m. Let's plug it into what we have. So my y is -9, m is 1/2, x is -4, plus b. -9 drops. Half of -4 is -2. This time I have to add 2. They cancel. -9 plus 2 is -7. Here's my b. Again, here's my m. Let's write it out. Y equals 1/2 x minus 7. Okay, so again, the only thing we actually added to this from the other lesson is this part right here. That y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or y's subtracted over x's subtracted. The y1, y2 is simply if this were your first set and this were your second set. We usually teach them to do that in order, but it really doesn't matter what order you do it in. Still going to get the same answer. Okay, got just a couple more here. Okay, so here's our next one. XY, XY, Y is on top, X is on the bottom. So I'm just going to do the same thing. I always tend to do the same way every time. -5 minus 1. That one's just a minus because it's a positive 1. And then same thing here. 4 minus, and then -2. So both back to back there. Let's subtract. -5 minus 1 is -6. -4 minus -2 gives you a plus, which is 6 again. -6 over +6 equals -1, and that's my slope. Okay, again, here's my point. 4, -5. There's my x and my y. So I've got -5 equals m. So remember, this is y equals mx plus b. My m is -1. My x is 4, and I'm solving for b. -5 drops. -1 times 4 is -4. Add 4 to both sides. These cancel. And -1 is my b. There's my m. There's my b. Let's fill it in. -1x minus 1. And you could just put y equals -x minus 1 because we don't need this guy here necessarily. Okay. Hopefully this is feeling okay. All right, let's do again x, y, x, y. I'm just going to go backwards this time to show you it's the same thing. So y's subtracted this way would be -1 minus 2. And x's subtracted the same way would be -3 minus 7. Now, if you chose to go the other way, then you should still get the same answer as me. So try it. -1 minus 2 is -3. -3 minus 7 is -10. Now, this is really important, you guys. This is a really common mistake that happens a lot. Negative over a negative here, if these are both a negative, we all know that a negative divided by a negative equals a what? A positive, right? So this just becomes +3/10 for your slope. Okay, so again, there's my slope. I'm going to pick that first point, 7, 2 for my x and y. And here we go. Y equals, so 2 equals m 3/10 times x, 7, plus b. Okay, Let's multiply. So 2 equals, I'm going to end up with 21 over 10 here, plus b. Now, this is what I talked about, how they could maybe be some weird numbers sometimes in the last lesson. That's going to happen here. So if I subtract 21 tenths from both sides, these cancel. 2 minus 21 tenths is actually negative 1/10 for my b. Okay, so it's not a nice whole number, which is okay. So my son's making some noise back there. So y equals 3/10 x minus 1/10. Okay, so again, it's okay. It doesn't have to be a whole number. Doesn't have to be a nice whole number. Sometimes it will be a fraction or a mixed number. So just keep that in mind, okay? All right, got one more together, and then you got one on your own, and we're done, okay? Hopefully you're feeling this is a little bit easier now as we move through, okay? All right, let's see if we can simplify a little bit. So again, xy, xy. If you need to write that out every time, great. If you don't have to. All right, I'm going to go front to back again. So 8 minus 16. Make sure your y's are on top. 20 minus 9 on the bottom for x's because it's rise over run. So we've got negative 8 over 11. That does not simplify, so this is our slope. Okay, that's my m value right there. Here's my point. So my y is 8. M is negative 8 over 11 times x, which is 20, plus b. And you can probably see right now this isn't going to come out fantastic looking. So 8 equals negative 8 elevenths times 20 is negative 14 and 6 elevenths plus b. I'm going to add this to both sides to get rid of it. Gone there. 8 plus 14 and 6 elevenths gives me 24 and 8 elevenths for my b. I'm sorry, that's not 24. I'm sorry, it's 248 over 11. Excuse me for that. So let's change that into a mixed number, which would be 22 and 6 elevenths for your b. Sorry about that. You can use your calculator for all of that, though. Y equals my slope, m, x, and then plus this mixed number down here for b, so 22 and 6 elevenths. Okay, trying to give you an example of ones that won't always work out, so think about that every time, okay? All right, one on your own, so let's pause it, follow your steps, and then join back in to see if you got it right, okay? Pause now. Okay, if you're checking, this is what we should have. 7 minus negative 4 on the top. Negative 4 minus negative 6 on the bottom. This gives me 7 plus 4, which is 11. Negative 4 plus 6, which is 2. So that one is your m, 11 over 2. Okay, here's my point. So my y is 7. M is 2. X is negative 4 plus b. Okay, 7 here. 2 and negative 4 would be negative, this would be a 1, this would be negative 2, so this would be negative 22 plus b. Okay, we're going to have to add 22 to make it cancel. So my b equals 29. So here we go. Y equals m, oops, I just put m again as I'm talking about it, mx, right, plus 29. That's what you should have no matter what you did up top. Let me know what you have questions on. Hopefully this is feeling easier.